It's time for Overcoming Hurdles. We are all still grappling with the aftermath of the devastating flood in Kerr County. It left many families heartbroken and changed parts of the area literally in just minutes. Emily Hasse's father-in-law was literally standing in the middle of it all happening, and here's just a few seconds of what he experienced.
That tree right there was underwater an hour ago.
My goodness, as harrowing as that was, we can say Emily's father-in-law did survive, thankfully. She joins me now to share more about this story and how he's doing. Good morning to you, Emily.
Good morning.
So glad to have you here and so glad that your father-in-law is doing okay. On Instagram, you shared with others that when people get a flash flood warning, it's already too late to react. Can you explain what you mean by that, and were you affected by that?
So I live in a different area, so I was a little bit affected, but not as bad as some areas in Texas. But he left right before all these flash flood warnings were issued. He left at before 5 in the morning, so it was still dark, and all of a sudden, going on a road and a bridge he goes over every single day, it just wiped him out.
Wow. Wow, I can only imagine. Even in that video, he was saying he obviously had to be out there for some period of time, because he was saying in the video the tree was underwater an hour ago and now it's dissipated a little bit. And so he was there to see everything. How did you find out that your father-in-law was actually in the floodwaters? Did he call? How did you know?
So, of course, it was dark whenever it first happened, but we have a family group chat, and he was coming to our house. He goes, "Well, I think I'm going to be a little late." And it took me a moment to process because I was still waking up. And my husband was like, "Emily, something is wrong. His truck is underwater."
My goodness, I can only imagine what your emotions are when you first hear that. How do you process that? What do you do? What does your mind strictly go to? The waters were moving so fast. Tell me, because in that video, you can tell he's almost sitting on top of his truck. How was he able to get out of his vehicle?
So he actually had to shoot his way out of he had to shoot his back window to climb out. And knowing he was there and we could not get to him, we had to put it all into God's hands.
I can only imagine. I'm so glad that your father-in-law had the tools that he needed in order to save himself, because I think a lot of the time people, when they're in those situations, they don't know how to save themselves from a sinking car even. So the fact that he knew to shoot out that back window, because it's the last to sink, is so incredibly important. That's why knowledge is so important, especially when it comes to these situations. Like you said, your husband wanted to go and actually save him, and you said that you felt like you had to be strong for him. How did you keep it together for your family in that moment? Like I said, how do you even process that information?
Mentally, I have yet to fully process all of this. It was very traumatic because my father-in-law is pretty much my dad. And knowing he was in a situation that no one could get to was one of the worst experience ever, because we couldn't just get up and leave even though we wanted to. But we were flooded down here too.
My goodness, my goodness. You actually tracked your father-in-law on an app, and at one point you saw his little dot start moving, and you thought he had been swept away in that moment, but he had actually been rescued. What was the feeling of that, or when did you find out that he had actually survived?
So that, watching him, and I'm so glad months ago I put a location on his phone to make sure if anything was to happen, I can know where he is at all times. He's 72 years old. But to know that I saw a dot on this side of the San Gabriel River and it went straight over, that was terrifying. And we lost contact for 45 minutes. And all I could think of was the worst of the worst. And knowing he's in a vulnerable situation, he could easily drown. It was horrific.
45 minutes, my goodness. I know that feels like a century in that moment. And so when did you finally get to reunite with him and talk about that moment? And he shared, of course, his story with you.
Well, he texted us right after, and he called my husband. He said, "I'm alive, I'm okay." But we actually went over there yesterday, and we gave him my husband's truck because, of course, his is totaled, to use until insurance. But it was an overwhelming experience to know that we could not stop saying I love you. We could not stop hugging him and just like, are you okay? Are you okay? And he was more worried about other people than himself.
How kind. My goodness, 72 years old, saved himself and was still worried about other people. We even just got to see a picture of him. So sweet. Your father-in-law told your daughter that he had something with him that kept him safe. Can you share that with us?
I can. So the weekend before last, we went over there and we found a baby Jesus at the hotel, and my daughter left it as his at his house, and he was bringing it to her. I actually have it. We got it
Oh my
yesterday.
goodness.
He goes, "Baby Jesus saved me." It's just surreal.
Wow, wow. That really just brings into reality, one, how precious life is, but two, that God was with him in that moment throughout everything. And so we are so glad that he was able to come through this and that you were able to come up this morning and share his story with us. My goodness, I'm so happy for you guys and for your family. And I know many people will want to keep following your family's story. So tell me, where can people find you so they can keep updated when it comes to your father-in-law?
Yes, ma'am. So everyone can find me. I have an Instagram, emily's.duo, and then also on TikTok on there as well.
Very, very good. Well, we are keeping your family in our prayers, especially even though you guys have had a surviving member. It's still, I'm sure, a pretty traumatic situation. So we are all thinking of you here at GMT, and we thank you so much for being vulnerable this morning.
Thank you so much.